am Sharon Pope, and I am the love and relationship coach for women who want more. And this is Ask Me Anything. So I received a question this week, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was some version of, I feel like I am doing everything around the house, and I don't understand why my husband doesn't help me. So I've got several answers to this question, but right out of the gate, I want to say we as women, particularly women who within your family, you have made the decision that you are making the choice to stay home and be able to raise your children. Nothing wrong with that. But we have to stop using the word help. Why won't my husband help me? And I understand where it came from. Because in this particular woman's situation, she was one of the women who had decided to stay home and raise her children. And so she views her job, so he has a job, he goes to work every day at an office and he does some things and he makes some money and then he comes home at night. And so she views her job as everything else related to the home and the children. But the problem with that is that there's no off switch. There's no 9 to 5. There's no like, oh, you know what, after 6 o'clock at night, you might receive an email or a few texts, but otherwise your kids aren't going to need you. That just doesn't happen. So when you as a couple have made the decision that this is your job and this is his job, that's wonderful. But you both have made the decision to bring life into this world in the form of children and to move into a home, and homes take work. So you both made that decision. So when he, and granted this can go either way, I know this sounds like broad-based stereotyping. I'm just telling you the majority of the clients that I work with, this is their story, okay? But if you've made the decision to buy a home, you could have made a different decision. You could live in an apartment, you could live in a condo, something that doesn't require as much maintenance. If you've made the decision to have children and bring life into this world, and you've made the decision to have multiple children, all of that is exponential. And that does not mean that that is your 100% job, because the two of you made that decision together. It's his home also. It's his children also. It's his dinner on the table. It's his grocery shopping done. It's the cleaning. It's like there's a lot that goes into this life. But we have to stop using the word, my husband won't help me, or asking him for help. This is not help. This is also his responsibility. You made this decision together. Stop saying help. Okay. That's the first point. The second important point, and this happens with so many women that I work with, because most of the women that I work with, I mean, they might as well walk in my office with a cape on their back, because there's almost nothing that they can't do, right? They can make sure the kids get up and off to school and have everything that they need. They can make sure that the house is in working order. They can make sure that the fruit snacks that the kids love are in the cabinet. They can make sure that there's not mud on the floor walking in the door. They can make sure that their kids are getting good grades, that they've worked in time for a manicure, like all of it. I mean, there's so many that I just say, like, do you have a cape? Because you seem like you're Superwoman, that you can just do everything. You can get the kids to soccer. You can make sure that they're getting good grades. You can make sure that they're read a bedtime story and that they get their bath. You can put dinner on the table. You can even go to work all day and carry an enormous load of responsibility and then come home and be inside of a marriage. Like, it's a lot. But here's where I want to gently challenge you. Just because you can do everything does not mean that you should. And I only say this from personal experience because I was that Wonder Woman. I mean, minus the kids, right? Which is a big deal. So let's say that I was half of a Wonder Woman. But I would drive hard all day at work. And I would come home and there was not a single decision in that home, this was inside my first marriage, that did not have my say in it. But eventually, you just become exhausted. And you just want someone that will take care of you. So I understand how we got here. I understand that we have bred an entire generation of women my age, mid-40s to mid-50s, that have put everybody and everything in front of us. And then we ask our husbands to please help. I know how we got here, but that doesn't mean we have to stay here. I mean, what do they say? That the first step towards healing is just being able to acknowledge what got us here, or why we're here, or just what the problem is. We can do that. And to me, that first step is just because you can do 88 things at once does not mean you should be doing 88 things at once. So I know that it's sort of a cousin to the initial question of why won't my husband help me? I feel like I'm doing everything. But what I can tell you is that if you're willing to step back from something, anything in your life, in your home, as a parent, what you might find is that your husband is willing to step forward. He's willing to take on that role. You might have to ask for what you need or what you'd like for him to do, but he might step into those shoes. You just have to be willing then to accept the way that he gives that gift, that the way that he would do it. Because just because he would do it differently doesn't mean that it's wrong. But create space for him to come in as a parent, for him to come into the marriage, for him to come in as the man of the house. Because if you're doing everything, there's no space for him to do that. And so it's really hard to get mad at him about that, because it would require him to push you aside. And no respectful man's going to do that. I hope that this was helpful for you. If that speaks to you, give this video a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what are your questions? Because when I get those questions, I want to come on here and answer it. And I know you probably think you're the only one struggling with your particular challenge. But talking to literally thousands of women over the last several years, all I can do is just promise you that you are not alone. So I want to hear your question, because you're not the only one asking it. Until next time, please be well.